detention. That was chapter 13.
Oh. Chapter 13.
I don't want you guys messing with me ever again, George said firmly, as the bully squealed in high-pitched terror. And that yellow-haired kid is off limits, too. You mess with us, you answer the tie. George snapped his tie in the air one last time, causing the four sobbing sixth graders to shriek like baboons. Oh, Uncle Benny, Chptr wailed through his tears.
This one's the red one.
Look at my funny hair.
That.
Suddenly, Mr. Crump came storming out of the building.
Wait, Mom, give me the book.
What's going on out there?
See I want to look at his hair.
He screamed. The little kids beat us up, Chptr sobbed. Oh, he did he? Yelled Mr. Crump as he grabbed George by his arm. I don't take kindly to bullies in this school. They're the bullies, cried Harold, pointing at Chptr and his three frightened friends. Those guys were just about to beat that kid up. He was just fending himself. Mr. Crump reached over and grabbed Harold by his arm. I don't like liars either, he growled.
Do you know my blanket's still down here?
Oh, did it fall?
Yeah. It went.
Do you want to get it?
No.
Mr. Crump yanked both. Yeah, I'll get it when I'm done reading.
Okay.
Mr. Crump yanked both boys to the detention room. You two troublemakers are going to stay here until you've learned your lesson, he shouted, then slammed the door. So much for good first impressions, said George. The two boys sat in silence for several minutes. Harold opened his backpack and took out a notebook and the pointy half of one of his broken pencils. He started to draw. What grade are you in? Asked George. Kindergarten, said Harold. Me too, said George. I'm new. We just moved here 3 days ago. Oh, said Harold. I think you live next door to my house. Really? Said George. George glanced over and noticed that Harold was drawing a giant monster. Hey, you're a good drawer, George said. Thanks, said Harold. George watched as Harold drew a flying hero, zapping the monster with a laser beam. Cool, said George, pointing to the superhero. What's that guy's name? Harold shrugged. He doesn't have a name. How come? Asked George. Harold shrugged again. It's just a picture, he said. It's not really a story.
Wait, Mommy, this.
Oh, said George.
Mom, you can't order the same one. That's the same one. That's the same one. The library book. I'm gonna pick what page. So keep your hand there.
I was okay. George watched intently as Harold finished his picture. When he was done, Harold folded the page back and started drawing a new picture on the next page.
Let's go. Wait,
do you
Mom.
Want to draw too?
Let's go all the way to the 2, 2, 3. Okay. Let's go back to our page.
Page 322. Page 223. You want to read it here? Let's read it.
Wait, no, I want.
Let's read. Right here.
I didn't want to start from here.
We can't read all that tonight. That's just way too much.
Then we just skipped a whole bunch of pages.
This page here is about pizza. Can we read it?
Yes, sure.
Chptr yanked the pizzas out of the delivery guy's hands and headed toward the cafeteria with his friends. They kicked the lunchroom door open and strutted over to the kindergarten's table. Look at all that tasty pizza we got, Chptr said to the hungry kids. I'll bet you guys are starving. Aw, that's so sad. Chptr bugged Loggy and Finkston. That's a funny name. Each grabbed a giant slice and crammed it into their mouths. The 4 bullies smiled obnoxiously as they chewed with wide, revoltingly cavernous mouths that showed every mushy gloss of shiny, doughy goo. Ew.
What?
Whew, this pizza's kinda hot, said Finkelstein, as he swallowed harshly and wiped some sweat off of his forehead. Yeah, said Loogie, this pizza is really hot. Ow, 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 cried Kipper. This pizza is way too hot. It burns, wailed Bug as he stuck out his tongue and tried to blow on it. Wow. Ooh. Suddenly, the bullies' exaggerated smiles morphed into big-eyed expressions of sheer horror. Quickly, they began wiping off their tongues with their filthy hands, but it was too late. The ghost chilies had already done their damage. Kipper and his terror-stricken buddies stampeded to the drinking fountain, waving their arms and shrieking like a crackle of panicked hyenas. They pushed and shoved each other in a desperate attempt to splash cold water into their tongues. Kipper wasn't having much success at the drinking fountain, so he bolted to the milk table. There he began clawing the tiny half-pint milk cartons open one after the other and splashing the milk into his face. The other 3 thugs followed, shoving and jabbing and kicking each other as they tore through the tiny cartons with their teeth and sprayed the milk into their gaping, smoldering mouths. When the milk was gone, the 4 bullies dropped to the floor, grunting and wailing and crying for their mommies as they licked up all the milk that had spilled during their lacto-guzzling frenzy. The entire event had been filmed, but about 20 kids on their cell phones, and the embarrassing videos were all posted online before the end of lunch period.
How much more minutes, Mom?
Kipper, Bug, Logie, and Frankenstein all spent the next 2 hours in the nurse's room, holding ice packs on their tongues and crying like toddlers. They started to feel better just as school day was ending and wrestling practice was about to begin. At 12:45 p.m., when the final bell rang, George and Harold ran to their secret restroom stall and grabbed 2 empty glass jelly jars. Then they headed out